So I'm totally into this episode.
You're not into the other episode? You're not into
I haven't really enjoyed it.
So far, not yet. 700 episodes in?
Yeah.
Not yet. Haven't gotten you yet.
No.
Coming.
Couple intriguing, but this one I'm into. No, you know why? Because you know what this one's about. But as we are preparing this episode, I'm about to go to Chicago to go to work for 10 weeks. And I got to ship a bunch of stuff, like stuff I'm going to need.
Right.
Because I don't want to take it on the airplane.
And check it.
And I don't believe I've ever lost a bag. I've had bags brought to me late, that didn't get onto the same plane I was on. But they knew where they were. And
I've
they got
had the
them to me,
weird baggage thing. Remember when we went to my wife's best friend's wedding in Napa, where I grabbed the bag off the carousel? It was an identical one to my wife's, and it had a gun. It had a gun and a warm shoe, a bolo tie, and a leather duster. So we were 100% sure that a hired hitman was missing his bag. And this shows you how different we were before 9/11. Called the airline and went, all right, we'll pick it up. We'll try and find it. It was like I said, it's a loaded gun and a shoe. He goes, yeah, we'll be there. Guy picks it up like it's nothing. They send like Jimmy, who's like 17. He picks it up, delivered our bag.
That was a loaded gun and a shoe. It was probably a small gun.
Oh, no.
Like a Derringer?
Oh, no. This was a...
Oh, so it was like a size 16 shoe?
Yeah, and by the way, I could see somebody getting pistol whipped going, I thought you were killing him tonight! Which got me thinking.
2 million bags wind up missing. Is that what you're saying?
2 million bags go unclaimed by their owners.
So missing and unclaimed.
And unclaimed. What kind of person doesn't
yeah.
go to claim? I'll give you some insight before we get our guest on.
I wonder if your guy with the gun said, hey, I'm missing my loaded gun. It's in an Adidas sneaker, size 14.
Wow. It was a one.
And a duster.
And a bolo tie. And my bolo.
And my bolo tie.
By the way,
I don't care about the gun or the sneaker. I need that bolo tie back.
So to give you some sense of what people bring on planes.
Yeah.
Stuffed animals stuffed with guns. People trying to sneak stuffed animals stuffed with guns.
Well, that's smuggling.
Marijuana hid inside a diaper.
Sure.
Fully loaded firearm at the Louis Armstrong New Orleans International Airport. Forgot it. A knife hidden inside a loaf of bread.
Oh, a prison break? Where was that going?
No, you, of course, would say, because I hear words, I was going to use the knife to cut the loaf of
bread, of course.
Let me see.
I didn't want anybody to get
This is my favorite. One of my favorite, a gassed up chainsaw.
Oh, with fully gassed.
Yeah, because you know what? When you hit the ground, you want to hit the ground running.
Yeah, sure.
Okay?
Yeah.
That'll give you some sense of what people can
This is what people are trying to get onto airplanes.
So you can only imagine when we talk to the person we're going to talk to who runs what we think is the only place.
Well, you know the story. You were part of it when we were doing Pop Patterson, and I went to do publicity in New York, and I had a black shoulder bag that I hadn't used in years and years, since actually I moved from New York to L.A. I went, I never used this bag. This is a good bag for this trip. And I put my carry-on things in it, and I go to security, and they flag the bag, and they go, can we look in your bag? I go, of course. They go, anything in here untoward? I go, no. I don't know. No. And they pull out a thing called, that I had forgotten I owned, and I didn't know, it is a black object that looks about metal, about the size of a large cigar, and it's called a kyoga. It's a martial art weapon. It's actually, if you flick it, it opens up a big long spring. It's like a billy jack, right? But it's long because there was a period where I had a stalker in New York, so I must have thrown this thing. It's totally black into the bottom of a black bag, and I forgot. And they now pull it out and they go, "What is this?" And I go, "Oh my God, I didn't know that was in there. Oh, that's a martial art weapon. That's called a kyoga." And they go, can you step over here, please? And I go, well, wait, what's the problem? And I'm looking at the sign that has the circles with the line through it, and I go, it doesn't do that, it doesn't do that, it doesn't do that, it doesn't do that. And they go, the security officer is saying to me, I can't carry this. This is illegal in the state of California. I said, well, I bought it 11 years ago in New York City. It was perfectly legal. I don't know. You can take it. Here, just take it. I don't care. And no, now there's cops coming over.
So how long did they?
So I got saved by a guy who was a former New York City police officer who was now either police or a TSA guy. And there were people coming over, and as they're there thinking about what to do, one of the guys goes into his shoulder microphone, we got a 408. And the guy from New York goes, no, we don't. We don't have a 408. We're good. And I said, what's a 408? He said, well...
Seinfeld cast member with a deadly weapon.
Right, you were about to look at the inside of a cage.
Really?
Yeah. I had
Really?
to. He said, "You're going to pay a fine. You're going to do all. You're going to have to fill out a whole bunch of paperwork."
Really? You paid a fine?
I did. Hefty. I think it was like $1,200. Wow.
I guess my sense is anytime they find a thing, the person goes, I didn't know it was a
Well, yeah, nobody knows.
Nobody's going,
I'm the schmuck going,
that's
I
where
must
it
have
is.
put that in there.
That's where
By the way, that's a martial art weapon. I'm telling him.
Want to see how you use this? You don't have a belt.
Yeah.
I forgot that happened.
Yeah.
They don't mess around then. And you know what else? One of the items that people leave on planes, which I couldn't believe, is shoes. They find shoes. I guess you're comfortable after a 5-hour flight. You forget you're not wearing your shoes, and you walk off the plane just because you can't wait.
I'm telling you,
shoes.
Special kind of
Let's meet our guest today. The guest is Bryan Owens, the CEO of the only place we know of that has unclaimed baggage. It's in Alabama, and we'll let him tell you about it.
All right.
Really? No, really? Really? No, really? Really?
Joining us now, and I'm thrilled that we got him, is Bryan Owens, the CEO of what we think is still the only unclaimed baggage center in the world. And looking at the business, Bryan, your dad was a visionary, but I also watched a video of you talking about your dad and the fact that you're fifth-generation entrepreneur. Is that accurate?
That's true. I come from a long line, and I've got 3 boys that are kind of following in my footsteps.
Well, sure, they're not stupid. Come on.
Yeah, because what you've done, or what he's done, is pretty unique.
This is singular. I mean, you are the name of it is, what's the name? I don't think we said the name.
Unclaimed baggage is one of the names, but it's also part of what? The Owens Group International, which I saw now, and we can talk about it later, is part of Reunite Us, which is even a bigger platform. So you guys don't just sit on your laurels and say, we're doing this. You keep growing it. But why don't you tell everybody
what
about the history of the company?
Started.
Yeah. My dad was an insurance sales guy back in the late 60s, and he was not happy in that job. And he was I'll take you back in technology a little bit, he was a ham radio operator.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Remember that. But he would get up every morning of my life about 4:30 or 5 o'clock, and he would get on his ham radio and talk to guys all over the country. And many of them he talked to for 40 years. And one day, one of the guys said, "Look, I've got more unclaimed bags that I know what to do with." And my dad, being the great entrepreneur, thought, well, his dad was a retailer and an entrepreneur, and he said, "Well, I think I can help you with that." And he borrowed $300 from one of my grandfathers and a 1965 Chevy C10 pickup truck from my other grandfather, and went off and bought his first load of bags.
Wow. And then
brought those back to he brought them back to Scottsboro, Alabama, which is where the business sits today, and rented an old house, and they opened up the suitcases and sorted things out and put them on card tables and stuck price tags on them and opened the doors to the public 2 days a week, and it was off to the races.
Was there, Bryan, originally the gentleman who sold the bags to your dad, was there any legalities that they had to figure out, or was it literally just dead items at that point?
At that point, they were unclaimed and had gone beyond the period for tracing, and he needed to get them off his hands.
Yeah.
And today you're doing,
Wow.
is it right? Is the number about 7,000 items a day new items that you put out?
Yes. In our retail store, we stock 7,000 never seen before items every day, which is crazy because the store changes every day. And hence the reason that people come in every day if they can, or once a week or once a month, or some people will make trips from California or the UK once a year just to shop. And then back in the pandemic, the governor of Alabama had to shut down for 7 weeks, and we had already been working on the ability to sell online, but in limited fashion. And we pivoted hard during the pandemic, and our middle son, Matt, was in charge of that project, and so we went full bore into e-commerce, and We have customers from all 50 states in e-commerce. Our biggest state is from California for online purchases, and New York, Florida. I mean, we cover the whole country.
So you do it by you have lots of different categories: jewelry, clothing, etc. Are there categories that you won't touch for whatever reason?
Well, we only sell items that are that fit our quality standards. We pride ourselves in giving a second life to these lost items, and so about a third goes into our retail facility or online. About a third we donate to various charities that we have long-term partnerships with, and many of them are international in scope, and then about a third gets recycled.
Is there anything that's really untouchable though, or is everything valuable to some degree? I mean, I know you're not using nuclear fuel in a bag, but is there anything that just really has no obvious place, and you just?
Yeah, we did have someone planted a fake bomb in a suitcase, and that was kind of untouchable until we realized it was a fake. And it probably was the TSA, and that bag slipped through and came to us, and fortunately there was no harm from that.
Wow. So before we talk about the items, because the items is what everybody highlights, I mean, because you've had some really insane stuff come through there, and I want to talk about why it came through there and why somebody wouldn't look for it. But what's your role when you get a bulk shipment of baggage from wherever? What's your responsibility? I know the airlines have to hold it for X amount of days, and then they pay out. If it's over that period of time, then they have to pay the claim. What's your responsibility about trying to find the person? Because when Jason and I were talking about this, Jason said just laptops, right, was one of your thoughts.
Well, I thought, because I know a good deal of your inventory are phones, laptops, computers, and if you can get it open and get it running, I always think, well, there must be some identifying information of the owner on it. Is that true? And if so, what's your responsibility, if any, to at that point still try and get it back to them?
Yeah, I mean, the airline's responsibilities are to take 90 days to try to find a passenger's lost item, and they settle all their claims within 90 days. And so at that point, before they ship to us, or we pick up from them, all the claims have been settled, and so when we get it, it's the title passes to us, and then we take it and go through a large sortation process. We have the largest commercial cleaners and laundry in the state of Alabama, so anything that goes on the floor or goes into the store or goes online, it's been freshly cleaned, and so, yeah, once it gets to Unclaimed baggage, there's no searching that goes on at that point. The airlines have done that, and they do a good job of it too. So.
But you have to wipe the computer, or you have to wipe everything, correct? The phones and the computers. You don't look at them. You just wipe whatever's on there, right?
Correct.
And make sure they're running.
So that's interesting. But I would honestly, I would always be concerned because my head goes to somebody's doing something nefarious, that either TSA or the airlines or your company would want to open a computer just to see, is there information on here that is sensitive?
That's personal,
and is there,
you can't without a warrant.
But if it's like a terrorist organization and it's they've left their computer behind, isn't that fair game to go?
I would think a terrorist organization is probably more careful with their computer than
you don't know that.
The average guy. And plus, there are legalities to that too, right? You can't just look at a person's computer even though it's unclaimed, right?
Yes, privacy and compliance with that is something that when we have all the certifications for that, and GDPR and PCI compliant, and bear in mind too, they're almost all locked, and so we don't know the passwords to them. And you think about when, like an iPhone, when iOS 7 came out, you can't open those phones.
Right.
And so we have the ability to data wipe laptops and phones, but we can't break into them.
There you go. Okay.
Got it.
So Bryan, give us the list, because you know everything that's gone through there since you took the company over, even since you were a kid. Some of the weirdest things that come through, I mean, it's unbelievable. You have a museum there that you've kept because
Yes.
certain stuff is so bizarre. Stuff that people actually shipped underneath a plane in baggage.
Yeah.
Took with them.
What's some of the more unusual things?
It's crazy, and we opened about a year ago. It was a vision of my wife Sharon to open a museum inside the store, and it's pretty fascinating when you walk in there. But we opened up a large crate. It was like a shock-proof container that we opened up years ago, and as we peeled back the packing from it, and the item was suspended by these rubber grommets so that it didn't touch anything. And there was a placard on it, and I promise you, it said these words: "Handle with extreme caution. I'm worth my weight in gold." Department of the U.S. Navy, and it was a guidance system for the F-14 fighter plane, which I think was used at the time in the V-22 Osprey, and we didn't know what we had, and so we had a guy who was out trying to figure out what it was and if there's value to it and could we sell it, and then we had the naval investigators show up on our doorsteps one day, and they said, "You've got this item and it belongs to us," and so I kind of put him on pause for a minute. I called our general counsel, and he said, "Give it to them. Don't hold on to it. This is a fight you don't want to have."
Wow! And by the way, who are you selling it to? The foreign government? I mean, there are not many bidders for that.
Well, there's a backstory to it. So this was years ago, and back in the 70s, we were friends with the Iranians, and before the Shah fell, and we sold them a lot of military parts and aircraft and things like that. And so we actually sold them some fighter planes. But then once that relationship went on ice with the Iranians, they had all this military equipment, and they couldn't find spare parts for them, and so the story was going around the Navy of that the Iranians stole it, and so I'm like, nope, it's sitting right here in little Scottsboro, Alabama, in our warehouse.
So to that point, the thing that blows me away, and I tried to search for this, what kind of person, the psychology behind a person who doesn't look for their stuff. You have wedding dresses. You have suits of armor. You have an F-14 guidance system. Did he get off the plane, get home, and say, "I know I had something.
Yeah,
I checked it.
I can't believe it.
What was that?"
Well, here's the thing. But how is that guy going to call TSA and go, "One of my bags is missing"?
Yeah,
how do you identify it?
You're not going to
believe.
believe
Well, we
this.
have a.
Do you? Before we get to the other items, do you have a sense of the personalities that don't want to claim the diamond ring, or the personality that checks the Rolex into the bag instead of putting it in the carry-on? I don't understand that person.
Well, bear in mind, we get items from what I call the world of trains, planes, and automobiles. So it's not just airlines.
Not just planes,
and a lot of things are. Well, so we do get the check bags, and you find all kinds of fascinating things inside of bags. And we say if these bags could talk, I mean, what a story they would have to tell. But we also get items that are left on board in the overhead or the gate area, and so those are what we call lost and found items. They're not checked into the custody of the airlines. In some cases, people don't know where they lost it. They could have been on the rental car bus, could have been in the rental car, could have been in the hotel, could have been walking through the airport, going to the if you're a Delta person at the Sky Club, you could have left it there, could have left it at the gate area, or on the plane.
You gotta give, we're talking about the kind of people that would leave it behind. You gotta also give big shout outs to the people who find the $20,000 Rolex and go, let me turn this in.
Well,
yeah,
Yeah, it's amazing that the airline, are they not capable, and this is why they give you the stuff, to even look at the stuff? It just comes in bulk to them. They find it. Because like Jason said, if I'm an attendant in an airline at Delta, and I'm finding a Rolex. I open the box and there's a Rolex in her bag.
Yeah, I would like
There's
to
a
think
good
I
chance.
go, anybody Rolex? Anybody's? And if I don't get a taker,
How does it get to you? That's amazing. That's amazing. That nobody along the way has plucked it.
Yeah, the airlines all have procedures for the cabin service personnel, flight attendants, and yeah, they have an incentive to want to serve their customers well and get the items back, but there's a process where they get turned in, and eventually it'll wind up at an airport baggage service office or lost and found office, and then after that, they typically have a more specialized team, and that's where they get into. Most everything's found in the first 24, 48 hours. I'm sure you guys have had that experience. Your bag doesn't arrive, but the next morning it shows up on your doorstep, and that would be most people's experience. But after you get beyond 3 or 4 days, then a more specialized team takes over, and I mean they're opening the bags up, and they're itemizing the items that are in the bags. And so you have kind of two entities. You have the bag without a person, the person without a bag, and so if you're a passenger, you're creating a loss report, and if there's a bag going around the carousel, then an airline baggage service person will take that bag off, and eventually, if they don't find it pretty quickly, then they turn it over to a more specialized team, and so they'll create an itemization of what's inside the bag. You've told them what you lost, and then there are computer systems that match.
So there's credibility, people watching. Live snakes, you've had live snakes, right?
We've had a couple over the years. We had a rattlesnake in one, and then
okay, how does somebody have a rattlesnake? What was it in?
You know, my guess is that it crawled into that bag in a warehouse.
Oh, okay. I thought somebody was trying to sneak a rattlesnake from.
Yeah. You told a whole different story to yourself by there.
Yeah, but nobody tried to ship a live snake?
We had an African sand boa that someone did leave in a bag, and don't know why they didn't claim the bag. Maybe it was a prohibitive item or something like that,
or they sobered up would be my.
You know, it is interesting because what we find is where there's chaos or chaos and alcohol. Or when people tend to
leave a few items behind.
Stuff. Suit of armor. How does somebody forget or not want a suit? You have a couple suits of armor there, right?
We do actually. Yeah, in our museum, and we've had multiple ones over the years. And it's like, if these bags could talk, I mean, what a story they'd have to tell. And I should also point out that in addition to check bags, we get also air cargo and air freight, and sometimes. If things like that are being shipped.
Oh, my God.
But how about you have diamonds and emeralds? I mean, stuff that's worth 30, 40, 50,000. You would think somebody would know where that is too or come looking for it. That happens quite often, yes? Valuable rings, valuable jewelry?
We've had dozens of Rolexes this year alone.
Well, if you have now I'm interested in the store. So if I stumble into your store and you have a Rolex that is valued at $20K, are you selling it at $20K or is this a discounted store?
So the rule of thumb for us is for pricing is 20 to 80% off of retail pricing and MSRP. So there's certain items like a Rolex or this past year we've had like 3 or 4 Birkin handbags, which are really rare and unusual. And I mean that are. I think we've sold one for $20,000. So what we try to do is we want to make it a good deal, but we're not pricing something like that for resellers.
Right. So do you have excellent? So I'm curious why there's no TV show like Pawn Stars filming your stuff, because you have to have experts that know every category. How many categories do you think you sell in that store?
Oh my goodness, it's like So the store occupies over a city block, so it's pretty substantial. You walk right in, and there's a kind of a welcome center and a directory, and people walk in and trying to figure out which direction to go. But it's bright, it's clean, it's highly organized. Our team members are we're very selective in the people that we hire that serve our guests, and you have to remember also, I mean, we're in northern Alabama, in the northeastern corner of the state. We're about 38 miles from Huntsville, which is a booming city, by the way, and about an hour from Chattanooga, Tennessee. So we're right there in that corner of northeast Alabama. But people come from all 50 states. I mean, we have 1 million people a year that come to the retail operation.
But how do you price? So, Rolla, who in your organization do you go to that says, "I know what this should be worth. I know what this should be worth"? How do you price something?
There's a guy.
Yeah,
they got a guy. They got a guy.
we have like dozens of people that are pricing experts, and they have expertise in different areas. So we have a whole team that they're just processing jewelry, separate out the costume jewelry from the fine jewelry, and some things we're able to price and appraise in house. The more expensive things we'll send out to someone who has a GIA certification. But we also have a whole department that just does authentications. So we don't take a Louis Vuitton bag. We're not going to sell that if it's a fake, and so it's very important to us to authenticate something.
That's verified.
Yeah. You get a certificate of authenticity with that.
Has anybody?
We destroy.
Yeah.
We destroy things that are knockoffs.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I think we opened the knockoff store next to his store and sell.
We're not. That's
obvious
not us.
Obvious knockoffs. If you don't care.
Yeah. Our store is called Not Beneath Us.
Why don't they have? Why do you not have a television?
Well, wait a minute. That's really the question. And if you have a team of carefully trained people that ensure what I'm about to ask you, you don't have to tell me. But how are you the only store that does this? Nobody. This seems to be such a potentially successful, lucrative business. How come you have seemingly no competition? How is that?
Yeah, we developed a lot of competencies over the years, and take the airlines for example. I mean, it's the relationship of trust that we've been able to build is I'm really proud of our team. I'm proud of my parents and my brother who were involved in the company early on, and just building really strong relationships. And they need a relationship with someone that they can trust, because I mean, there are all kinds of things. You already mentioned personal ID, personal information on electronic devices. A lot of bags, especially carry-on bags, will have prescription drugs in them, and so they've got to know that somebody's going to handle them appropriately, and those all go into a lockup. And I mean, we also have suitcases with illegal stuff, with drugs and things, and so those go into a lockup, and then the local authorities come by about once a week, and they take it from there.
And you mentioned going way back, your dad, paid $300 for the first set of bags. Is your company still paying to get these bags, or are you just now the obvious end user and they just get them?
Or do they get a percentage of your sales?
Some people think, or mistakenly think that the airlines just give us the items, but they don't. I assure you, I mean, we pay a fair price to the supplier, and so we have a cost of goods, and just to get the bags to us, there's the cost of the bag and the shipping, but then there's the whole what we call processing and sorting out the bags. It's a bit like a reverse manufacturing process.
Yeah. And
because we're mining for value, and we're looking in every corner, in every nook and cranny of a bag. I'll give you an example. Because we have a lot, of labor in the items before we ever get them out to onto the store or online. We had an old nondescript, kind of dirty, not very expensive bag that came in several years ago, and inside that bag was a cloth or kind of a rag or a sock or something like that. I don't exactly recall, but inside that, wrapped inside in that piece of cloth, was a 40-carat emerald. It was the biggest emerald I've ever seen. It was amazing. So we really have to be careful. I mean, in looking inside the bags, the pockets, inside of socks and jackets, and so.
Wow. So, and that 40 emerald card, I don't know, we said it's on your wife's ring finger, correct?
It's a little big for her fingers. So.
Do your guys get, there's a Rose Bowl flea market, which I'm sure you know about, which is a big flea market out here. And one guy, I used to go to the Rose Bowl when I was collecting snow globes. It's great. And there was a guy, the guy who was the most packed, who had the most people, and you probably know this, is a guy who sat at a table and do what you did, which is take these boxes that had not been opened, and he's going to open in front of you. But if you want something, you're going to grab it now, or it's going to be gone. And people would be 25, 30 deep, yelling and screaming. You want what this is? Unopened, here it is. There's an excitement to what you do too. So I'm wondering, who gets first? Do your employees get first dibs? Can they see something and go, oh my gosh? Do they get? Is that part of it?
I'm keeping this.
I'm keeping it. They get a free lunch or discounted lunch at your place and another percentage.
Yeah, the team members don't get first dibs. It's like Christmas every day. And it really is. It's fascinating to go in and watch the process and see them open a bag and
right.
Sort items out. And I mean, we have team members that have been opening up bags for 25 years in that department, and they are still astonished and surprised at what they see coming through.
And what about?
It's also, it's also think about this too. I've been in this business since I was in the 6th grade, and in addition to doing some other things, but the bags back in 1970 or the 80s or the early 2000s, I mean, they're kind of different than they are today. I say that it's like an archaeological dig, and so you can open somebody's bag or see what people leave on the plane, and it tells you a lot about our society and what kind of electronics people are carrying with them. I can tell you there are a lot less suits and nice dresses and things that
sure.
men and women would take on business trips. Because, as you know, when you get on a commercial flight now, it's just much more casual now.
Casual people are barely dressed. Are you are you kidding?
Some of those barely dressed people are wearing some really expensive clothes. They're just not. We're not getting as many suits and ties.
They're not sitting next to me.
What about albums? What about photo albums? What about journals? What about diaries? People's personal stuff. Does it break your heart that somebody's whole life is in a journal, they forgot it, and you have to get rid of it?
It's sad because I have a stack of moleskin journals in my office that's my boys give me a little bit of a hard time about it. I take all my meeting notes in my moleskins, but there's not really anything we can do about it at that point. It's the airlines should have gone through and tried to return it or connect it to the.
Wait a minute, you don't keep records? Your whole records of this $40 million, $50 million, $60 million a year business is in a moleskin journal, handwritten?
No, that's not what the man said. He said he takes meeting notes.
I know, but I love that he does that. Rather,
he's not doing the math in a moleskin
where people don't know what he's putting in there. This doesn't go in the computer. I just noticed
he hasn't really answered how he said trust is the reason that the airlines. Yeah, that's we know people who do business on trust too.
It's a fascinating thing. And now you've grown your business. I saw Dollywood. I saw you do hotel groups. I mean, you keep expanding, and you renamed it. What's it called now? The Reunitas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the name of our holding company. Reunitas means to unite again. And
I took Latin for 2 years. No one else took Latin. I never get to use it. I was so excited that I saw Latin.
My sister taught Latin.
Sum est sumus estus sum.
I said my sister.
I know. I'm just doing a
what
derivation. I figured I'd throw it out there. People would walk around doing French, Spanish. My dad wanted me to be a doctor, and somehow thought back then you took Latin, and that would help you become a doctor.
You did take Latin.
A doctor, and everybody else is speaking conversational French and Spanish, and I'm going, "Where's the aqueduct?"
Yeah.
It didn't help me at all.
My sister actually thought she became a Latin teacher, thinking every med student has to learn Latin.
She obviously talked to my dad.
She did not remain a Latin teacher.
It doesn't work. Long. Yeah. Well, I wish you continued success with this. And it is amazing that you own, not many people own an entire category, an entire industry. And if you go online and look at the store, it's stunning. I mean,
by the way, if somebody wanted to visit the store online, what is that website?
Unclaimedbaggage.com.
Unclaimedbaggage.com. The minute we hang up with you, I'm opening up my phone.
Do you go in? Are you in the store right now? Is your office right there? Do you go out the floor every day and see what's going on, or is that just a part of the business and you're involved in the whole other part?
Yeah, I'm a part of a lot of other things too, but I'm over there in the store, walking the facilities at least a couple times a month.
And with
I love it. I love our people.
And three kids. You have three sons. You said 3 sons.
Yep.
Did they notice it like succession? Or are they already fighting and elbowing him out of the way to figure out who's getting it? Can you see the sucking up has begun or no? Like, Dad, can I get you anything? You want cheese? You look like you need cheese. I would be so obvious in that kind of situation. It would be horrible. What is that like? What is that like?
Yeah, all 3 boys and my wife Sharon are as I said, are involved in the company. No one is working full time in the company except for, and from the family, in terms of family members, except for my wife and me. But our boys they come to quarterly board meetings, and they all have kind of a specialty where they contribute. And
is that Dad? Because you said, I don't want you to count on going in the business. Do your own thing, and you'll be 1 foot in the business, and then we'll see what happens. Yes.
Yeah, I want them to know what's going on and to be familiar with it. But they all need to go make it on their own.
So smart, such a smart man.
Can I send you my children? Would that be okay?
And by the way, and my children will be driving his children to your place. Wow, that's pretty. That is like a succession. Yeah. That is like. But wink once. You don't have to say who. Kenny, who's getting it? Do you think? You can't say. You can't say. He's not going to.
I'll tell you. I have my oldest was glued to the television last night because he went to NYU Film School and he is he's trying to make it in the world of film. And our middle one is a strategy consultant, and our youngest one is a tech guy. He's marketing technology and analytics. So they all bring. A
youngest is getting it.
Yeah, I actually went middle. I thought middle.
But
I thought middle.
How about? But no, the oldest, film guy.
No. Clearly,
what a choice.
Yeah,
who does that?
No, he's not.
It was. Watch. He'll be the most successful out of the whole bunch. So.
And by the way, if I am employable for that guy.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, as are you. Because you did 35 years.
You know what? I don't want to punch you in front of a guest. Thank you, sir, for coming on. Anything
Bryan,
else? Is there anything with Bryan we forgot about your business? No, right? There's like new technology, new stuff, new areas.
I think we've covered the landscape. I'll tell you one thing that's in the museum that might be kind of a fun factoid. When I joined the company after college, we had this old, really well-worn Gucci suitcase that we opened up, and it was packed with Egyptian artifacts that go back to 1500 BC. I mean, we're talking the time of Moses here. And we opened the bag up, and there was a burial mask in there. There was a mummified falcon, because the Egyptians would mummify their pets gods, in those days. There were scarabs. It was really pretty fascinating, and so we sold most of the items through Christie's in New York, but we did save a couple of items, and then we have some replica items in our museum, and we have a couple of them on display as well. So,
if you don't mind me asking, what do items like that go for at Christie's?
Oh my goodness, that was years ago. Actually, the oddest thing, the thing that brought the most value, that brought several $1,000s, was a chair leg. Or a stool leg, and it was in pristine condition. But there's something about that people really latched onto.
Wow!
Was it ornate?
Yeah, it was a fine carved piece of wood, and it wasn't just straight. It had some curvature to it, and
wow! All right. Maybe the guy had the other 3 legs, and this completed the set. You never know. Ryan, thank you so much for your time. I know you're probably sitting there.
You, sir.
You probably lost money talking to us because you're so busy. But
we're
thanks.
going to Scottsboro. We're going.
I would go if we go.
We're going.
You have a restaurant there too, right? You have a restaurant in the place.
Inside the
we're going.
The store.
I would love to go there.
Peter and I go on. We go on a trip every year, and I'm telling you,
maybe this is it.
This could be it.
All right.
This could be it.
Well, thank you.
Will not be the first people this month from California. So.
All right.
Well,
thank you very much. It was a pleasure meeting you, and thanks for coming on.
All right.
Here's something that I just want to follow up on before we go into anything else.
Sure.
It's the amazing thing about how many people carry stuff on. And my theory is, and he said it in a sense, that it used to be we were better dressed.
Sure.
Okay? It was a different time.
Right.
I think the same thing about stuff. It's kind of like the George Carlin bit about we have too much stuff. When my parents died, they didn't have much stuff, and there was importance to some of their stuff. When I dropped dead, I have 1,400 snow globes alone downstairs.
Yes, you do.
So I don't know that there's that much connection to it or importance. Another generation doesn't care that much about weddings, so wedding dresses, all of that. I think some of this is people don't search out the stuff because it's not that meaningful because, ready for this?
Yeah.
Over 10% of us rent storage units. 18% of us rented a storage unit that have a 4-bedroom home, which means we got too much crap, even for a 4-bedroom home. My favorite one is 1/4 of us, and you see this when you drive around all the time, don't have room to park in your garage. because
of the stuff.
25% of us can't use the garage because it's filled with all of that crap. So I think we are overwhelmed with clutter and crap, so stuff doesn't have the significance, maybe.
What do you got for us, David?
Well, since Jason was under the impression that you could bring a katana on board an
Not a
airplane
katana, it was a Kyoga.
Oh, a Kyoga.
Yeah,
okay,
it's a different
Kyoga.
thing. I know you can't bring a sword on a plane.
Well, I'm
okay,
just saying.
wait. For David's sense, because
Yeah.
you looked it up, whatever. You brought on, what did you bring on?
Oh, okay. Let's go with the katana.
Katana, thank you.
I tried to bring a Japanese sword.
I was
onto a
joking.
plane.
Google-heimed it.
No. That was a joke, Peter.
I got it. I didn't get that it was a joke.
Kyoga.
Yes.
Now, Jason, I don't know. You might have actually put yourself into a little bit more jeopardy because you said that you had the Kyoga because, back in New York or whatever it was, you had some sort of an issue. According to UPI, Kyogas have been illegal in New York since 1978. So it's considered a blackjack.
Really?
So, yeah.
It is considered a blackjack. I bought it through a martial art magazine, and it said not available in certain states. And then, but New York was not one of them.
Yeah, well, sometimes you
all
can't
right.
believe
Good thing I never had to use it.
You never had to use it. There you go.
You bought it from the back of a magazine where they sell like Mr. Big Cream and all that other stuff?
No, it was a martial art magazine.
Oh, okay.
What, Mr. Big Cream? What magazines are you reading?
If you look at weightlifting magazines, they always sell other stuff too.
Well, I wasn't looking at a weightlifting magazine.
Fine. You were looking at a martial arts magazine.
I was looking at Black Belt magazine. Go. Yeah. What, Mr. Comment?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
You're gonna poo-poo something. You're gonna demean. You're gonna do something. I can tell. Oh, look at you, Jackie Chan.
You can get a black belt. You can get a black belt magazine without even being near a black belt.
Yeah, you need no credentials to buy Black Belt magazine. That's true.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, all right.
I got it.
Well, anyway, I wanted to go over some of the other things that Jason should know that he shouldn't bring onto an airplane. That perhaps he does.
Okay.
Strangely enough, you can't bring smart luggage. Smart luggage is banned on airplanes.
What is smart luggage? What is that?
Smart luggage. It's luggage that has smart technology built into it, but it does use those lithium batteries that they don't like. Yeah.
If you forget it goes off the belt and it follows you like a dog out of the
It's like those delivery carts.
That's smart luggage.
Right. Yeah,
it's going, I'm over here. I'm here.
That's right. I sit on it and it takes me to the hotel.
Right.
That's a smart luggage.
I don't need Uber. I got smart luggage.
That's right.
All right.
Anything that you have that might be radioactive or explosive, poisons, replica weapons are not allowed. Tools.
Let me tell you, not only are replica weapons not allowed, but I used to have to travel with a water pistol, and boy, was that a problem.
Oh, for our
that was a problem.
We had fake snakes. A water pistol for a bit in the thing. What else did we travel with? A shotgun.
A fake stun gun. And a straitjacket.
If anybody saw that bag, you're under arrest.
Yeah, well,
oh my gosh.
Questions were asked. Yeah.
Don't even ask what kind of show we were doing with that stuff, but pretty amazing.
Yeah, we got it out of Black Belt magazine.
All I can say is I would consider the bus or the train.
Yeah. So have you ever lost anything that was like of real value to you?
No, and especially since we're doing stuff, I put it all in. If I can't fit it in the carry-on now,
Yeah.
I don't take it.
Or
do
just
what you
in
did.
life.
What you did. My wife does this now. Her family does it. You should ship it ahead of time, just because.
Right, but I don't even mean in traveling. Have you lost something?
I never lost something, but I accidentally did what you did, which is somebody gave me a really cool knife thingy, and I forgot. Oh, a bullet on a keychain type thing. That was really cool, and a razor blade kind of thing. And I forgot. I was coming home from the event where they gave it to me as like a tchotchke thing.
Yeah.
Threw it in my bag, and TSA go.
Yeah, thank you
over
very
here,
much.
and I did what you did, which is I didn't know it was in it.
Yeah,
Your voice goes way up.
Yeah, way
because
up.
when they look innocuous until they jump to action.
Right.
And then it looks like they're going to stun me. They're going to do something really bad. I also got pulled over in Spain, and I always try and diffuse like you do with a little bit of joke. Oh no, you joke there. They took me into a room with guys who are carrying AR like big guns.
Yes.
No joking.
Yeah, no funny.
No joking.
No funny.
And I thought I was going to miss my flight, so I just shut up. Because I got a sense we're not playing.
Yeah. The story in my family, Peter knows this, but David, when I was in high school, I was very proud of my high school ring. It was actually, kind of expensive, and it was my first ring, and I lost my high school ring. Couldn't figure out where the hell, how did I lose it? Where did I lose it? And my grandmother, and by the way, we've looked all over the house. We've looked in the cars. We've looked on the lawns. We looked at school. We looked at my grandmother goes, I worked at a little delicatessen as a busboy at the time. She goes, it's in the pickle barrel. I went, okay, Grandma. That's great. Terrific. Good for you. Thanks for the help. Right?
Sure.
In the pickle barrel. How's that going to happen? So at the end of a month, you've been scooping out the pickles. You have to change the water in the pickle barrel. We empty the pickle barrel. Right there at the bottom is my high school ring. And I don't know how she intuited it. Maybe she had powers.
Did you guess anything else?
I must have taken it off when I was scooping pickles to get them to the tables and put it in my shirt pocket. And as I was bending over the barrel, it must have fallen into the barrel. But how she went, first thing out of her mouth, I've looked for my high school ring, can't find it anywhere. It's in the pickle barrel.
Wasn't she the one considered the Delhi Nostradamus? Wasn't that her title? By the way, I'm looking up Black Belt magazine.
Yeah.
And it says the Black Belt store drills, and then Black Belt wellness is a category too.
Sure, yeah.
Right?
Sure. Black Belt wellness.
They've come along. Traditional orange self-defense, it still exists. Look
sure, you bet it's
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, they've expanded out. Wow. A Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you in the Hall of Fame?
Of Black Belt Hall of Fame?
Yeah. Not even near.
Yeah, under schmucks who lose things, who take weapons into airports. I'm in that aisle. All right, my friend. Well, I'm gonna send my bags, and hopefully nothing gets lost. And if it does,
no. If you send them, you're sending your UPS or your FedEx or whatever.
Yeah, I have a company. I have a company.
That's the way to do it. And then when I travel with you, I don't have to wait for you to get your bag. You and I always go, are you checking a bag?
Oh yeah, no. That's like saying, are you shooting heroin?
I get my whole family to sit on the bag to make sure everything fits so it explodes like it's spring loaded when I get to the hotel.
You betcha.
So,
you betcha.
Thank you for listening, everybody. We appreciate it. And check out the Unclaimed Baggage Store. I don't know why I'm promoting, but it's pretty.
We owe each other a trip. Let's go.
You and I are going to Alabama.
Where are we going to go that's better?
Oh, my God.
We're 35 miles from Chattanooga.
All right.
No, not Chattanooga. Huntsville. Alabama.
Okay. What's
and very close to Chattanooga.
They're in by the way, this store, the Unclaimed Fleet, is now in the Alabama Hall of Fame, much like you are in the New Jersey Hall of Fame.
Well, then I get a discount. I get a Hall of Fame discount.
You think he's going to, by the way, I know we get there and we say we're here and they're going to go, yeah, Mr. Owens is very busy.
That's right. He's at his fill.
He already hung with you. See you later.
Take care, everybody.
David, thank you. Laurie, thank you. Producer Laurie, thank you. See you next time.
Bye.
At Unclaimed Freight when we go to Alabama.